And the wheel of death is gone, so we should go
Your
live
show
here
will
in
go
just a
live
sec.
in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
You are muted right now, Eric, and that is funny stuff.
And I didn't mean to do that this time. My goodness, what a rookie. Okay, so good evening, everybody. Happy Tuesday evening. Welcome to the Crescent Discussion Group. Once again, we are here every Tuesday evening at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we are also here every Sunday afternoon from or at 2 p.m. Wait, did I say that right? 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on Tuesday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. On Sundays, we're also broadcasting on the Global Patriot Radio Network on Blog Talk Radio. And we simulcast to 2 Facebook pages and also here to the YouTube channel. Uh-oh. Let me click on this and hit OK. There we go. I have had some issues with my printer this evening, and I have no idea. I have no idea how to get it to stop, other than just picking it up and throwing it out the window. And I dare not do that because these things are not cheap. Okay, golly, stop. And it's still not doing it. Okay, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter because I have to get this off my screen in order to look at the chat. Anyway, okay, so tonight, what are we discussing tonight? Excuse me. Tonight I want to discuss the corruption of the Gospels. And I wanted to throw this question out to everybody and say, okay, because we've always heard this attack on the gospel record, this incessant attack. Well, we can't trust the gospels. The gospels have been corrupted. That there's been insertions in the gospels. Man has gone in there and tampered with it. It's not the word of God anymore. We've heard of all this, have we not? Yeah, I see everybody shaking their head. No, I don't see.
Yeah, I was nodding my head. I'm agreeing with you, Eric.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm glad somebody is. Okay, a little positive reinforcement always helps the show move right along. Paul and I were having that discussion today. How great it is to have people to actually talk to, and converse with, instead, because the old format that I was doing over on when I was just doing the Radio Freak Affairs stand and such, you just sat there and talked for an hour and a half, and you try talking to yourself for an hour and a half. Even when I am talking to myself, it's really hard to talk to myself that long in a row. Anyway, so the point that I was trying to make was about the Gospels. All of these charges have been leveled at the Gospels for, I don't know, for the last 20, 25, 35,000 years or however many years it's been since they've leveled these, since the Muslims have figured out that the Quran actually does contradict the gospel message. So therefore, it had to be corrupted. Okay. We talked about before.
I'm gonna leave at 6.
That red. There we go. We did not have himself muted. That's okay. We forgive him. what was I saying? That they've been corrupted. That has to be the reason why the Quran contradicts the gospel. And it's not even the gospel, don't you see? It's the Injil, this made-up, fabricated book that evidently Jesus was given at some point in time, but nobody ever mentioned that he had. Nobody in all of recorded human history has said anything about this Injil. It's always been called the gospel. So what I've wanted to do tonight is I wanted to talk about that, but it seems like we're still having some issues with this fella out of Houston. And I really absolutely 100% hate doing this, but it has to be done. What this guy has done, what?
Eric, we got a new sponsor because of him, but I'll let you continue, but we got to bring up the new sponsor. Just saying.
Why am I not getting any of this ad revenue from this new sponsor?
Well, they're Jews, just saying.
They're Jews. Oh, boy. Okay, anyway, what was I saying? Okay, so our sister Connie, who just happened to drop in here on a nick of time, of course. She's always not on time, but that's okay. Her YouTube channel was taken down this week because this imam, how do you say that? Mujahid? How do you say that name, guys?
Mudface. That's how. Yeah.
Okay.
Mudface. That sounds good.
Mudface, I like it.
All right. Well, whatever. Because of this Mujahid Islam guy and his friend Jamal. Is that our new sponsor there, Rad? Jamal?
Jamal, the camel urine for men, full body wash. No, actually, that's not one of our sponsors, but no. But yeah, okay. Camel Dude. Just call him Camel Dude.
Camel Dude? Camel Dude? All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that. As long as it, as long as it pays, that's about all I care about. As long as we're getting some type of money. Yeah.
Can you share my screen? I just want to wish somebody, I want to congratulate them.
Okay.
I'd like to congratulate the Houston Imam on his movie part. I'm sure he made a lot of money playing that part in the movie. Very good job. Very good job. All right, there you go.
Like I said, I love having a panel on here that is willing to share stuff like that. I hadn't seen that because I'm looking over here on my other monitor where it's actually okay. Never mind. But the resemblances are striking. Okay, so what was I saying? I was talking about Jacaba. What is that? What is this?
Jacaba the Hutt. He's gonna beat me up though. When I go and visit him in Houston.
That's what I heard. He's some tough guy. Okay, so all right, so okay, this is what this guy. Okay, let me just give you a little brief history of what this guy was happened. Okay, this past summer we had all this mama drama between him and his buddy Beholder Guard. Over, he slandered me. Do you think you're going to get away with? Hold on. Do you think? Hold on. Get up there. Do you think you're going to get away with slandering me? Type stuff. I mean, that's. Yeah. I mean, don't get up on the camera like that. But yeah. And we sat there all summer watching this crap, and I could, like I said, I could care less whether or not he had been slandered. Beholder Guard was right. I did not care, but I just got sick and tired of listening to him whine, snivel, and complain once his channel had been taken down. I mean, because Beholder Guard kept telling him, "Look, you keep doing this, I'm going to report you. I'm going to report you. I'm going to report you, and I'm going to get strikes put on your channel." And they were bogus strikes. We all know they were bogus strikes.
And we also
it's stupid and it's childish to be doing that.
Exactly.
No.
We all said it was wrong. What I mean?
Yeah, right. Exactly. We did say it was wrong. I mean, this is dumb.
Don't do that,
But the problem was that him and his buddy Marshall had been doing it for years. I was telling Connie that I've lost 9 Facebook accounts, and and I get it. I get being upset about it because you put all that work into it and then it's gone and there's nothing you can really do about it. And what I wanted to do is I just wanted her to welcome to this group of martyrs that have had our social media accounts taken down. But here's the problem. Here's the problem. He lamented the fact that Beholder Guard had gone in there and nefariously, erroneously reported his videos for copyright infringement.
Called it an injustice.
An injustice of mankind. How dare you falsely accuse me of X, Y, and Z, or whatever it was. And I don't care. But Connie made a couple videos, put them up on a YouTube channel, and you never guess who posted copyright infringement, bogus copyright infringement strikes. You guessed it, the Imam. And I've developed a new name for the Imam. What was that name that we posted there in chat? That was absolutely priceless.
Jacob the Hutt.
Yeah, Jacob. Yeah, I like that one.
Jacaba
the Hutt. Jacaba. I like that one even.
Soldier of Allah. I am a soldier of Allah.
Yeah, that's exactly. Okay, so here I'm going to post in chat the new one. Imam Jaban. And I ran this through our Arabic-speaking friends. Jaban Ibn al-Islam. Okay. That's what my suggestion is going to be for when we refer to him. And the
I'm
reason,
sorry, I think Jacob the Hutt is better. I'm just saying.
You really?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You got trumped.
You
got trumped!
Man.
I know,
all right, well, I'm just going to run with that one. Jaban. Oh, here's George. Hey, George. I'm going to stick with this one because Jaban, and I asked Connie about this. I said, do you know what this means? She's like, no, I don't know what it means. I said, Google it. And she said, it's not coming back with the right translation. Anyway, Jaban is the word for coward in Arabic. So here you have the Imam, the cowardly Imam of Islam is what it basically means. And the reason why I say that is because only a coward would do the same exact things that he cried about, snivel about, whined about for people doing to him, he's doing to somebody else.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Did I interrupt you in a rant? I mean, I hate when that happens to me.
I'm used to it.
Okay. But no, I was just going to say, hold on a second. Well, go ahead. Continue with your rant. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. So what I was saying is this is what a coward does. He sits there and whines, complains, moans about, oh, all this injustice is done to my channel. He shouldn't have done that. How could he dare do this to me? It's not right that he does this. And we agreed. We agreed it was the wrong thing. You don't do that to somebody. You inappropriate. You not the word's not illegal. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not to illegally report them, but erroneous. There we go. There's a good word. Erroneously report them. It's unethical. It is scumbaggish behavior, and this is what him and that other sewer-dwelling, swimming pal Jamal did to our sister Connie. Illegitimate. Thank you, Chloe. Illegitimate. That's a good word. This is what they've done to her YouTube account. And yet we are all supposed to just sit here and say, well, that's them. We need to rise above it. And we do as Christians. As Christians, we expect this type of stuff from people of this caliber. And the reason why I call him a coward is because, number one, he's doing the same exact things that he was crying about. But number two, he likes to fancy himself this great soldier of Allah. I've been a soldier of Allah for, I don't know how many years he claims he's been a soldier of Allah, protecting Islam and all this, that, and the other.
It's quite a statement. That makes him a jihadi, right?
Well, that you would have to actually physically participate.
Mujahideen at the very least.
Well, see, that's what he's calling himself. He's a mujahid. Mujahid, or however you pronounce it.
Yes.
That's what he calls himself. I'm a Mujahid.
Mujahideen Islam.
All right.
Mujahideen.
Well, he's not. Let's just put it that way. Because a Mujahideen would actually engage in this type of behavior. A Mujahideen last fall would not have run to a fellow kafir and ask him to please stop these other kafirs from exposing his past. He would have continued to pursue this kafir to get me fired from that teaching position that I had in order to protect those Muslim children that he claims that he needs to protect from me, because I preach evil Islam stuff in classrooms, evidently. That's a coward. That's not a soldier. That's what a coward does. So when the time came, Imam Jaban al-Islam was AWOL. So I would ask the Imam Jaban al-Islam to take that name off of his little facey thing that he does. Like, I have Eric Smith. I should put Eric Smith the Great. But would that make me great? No, it doesn't make me great. It makes me look like a narcissistic fool. And just as that would make me look like a narcissistic fool, that name under his little thing he does on StreamYard makes him look like a fool, because everybody knows what he's doing now. He's going out and he's whacking people's accounts because he doesn't like to be criticized.
Doesn't that sound like somebody he follows?
What's that?
Doesn't that sound like somebody he follows?
Hey,
he does. He's actually, this is Sunnah. How did I not figure that out? This is Sunnah.
Hey, Eric.
Yes.
Hey, George. I've got a question for you, dear brother. You are you there, George?
I am.
Excellent. So, can you describe how Kenny can be deadly?
There are some serious military weapons out there, and I'm sure Eric Smith is aware of some of these deadly weapons. But if you put the imam on a hill and roll him down onto your troops, that could be dangerous.
Say that again. I didn't understand that. Say that again.
If you put him on a hill,
okay,
and roll him down onto some American troops, that could be quite deadly.
You know, all joking, all kidding aside, I gotta say, dude. Well, a couple things. First of all, I'm very disappointed in the imam. I had thought he was going to come away, and I actually did, because as you all know, I had a 5.5 hour interaction with him. Well, not really 5.5 hours interacting with him, more like, interacting with him for like 30 minutes at the most, and listening to him read from his book for 3 hours. But anyway, we're waiting to come up on the mic. Anyway, but I thought he was going to come away from this whole Beholder Guard thing humble. Okay? I can't hear you, Eric. You said something? Okay. But I thought he was going to come away from this whole thing humble. Saying, yeah, okay, I get it. What happened to me now. Okay, it happened to me by one of my own that I call a Muslim brother, or used to call a Muslim brother. So, yeah, maybe this whole thing is not too bad. But here's the thing.
Hold on. Somebody's got to... Hold on.
It's either Paul or Chris. I think it's Paul. Paul's echoing.
It's me.
It's you. Stop it. Okay, anyway, as I was saying, I thought he would come away humble, from this whole experience and be like, yeah, okay. Didn't expect an apology, of course not, because the imam can do no wrong. But no, I thought he would come away humble and just be like, yeah, okay, let's not do this again. This is stupid. It's childish. And it really is just stupid. Okay. But no, all of a sudden I wake up this morning to the news of what happened to Connie. And here's the funny thing. He is demonstrating Islam to us. He has said that he follows the Sharia law, that he is a mujahid. Okay, he is a soldier of Allah. And by him doing these things, he is definitely demonstrating this. Eric, got to mute yourself because you are echoing here. Okay? Anyway, I don't know why. just as long as you stay muted, you're good. That's
Rad,
how we like
hold
it,
on
Eric.
just a second. Rad, hold on
What?
just a second. Hold on.
Uh-huh.
I have no idea why this is playing.
I hear no echo.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna jump out and jump right back in. Give me a minute.
Okay. Well, anyway, as I was saying, I thought he was going to come away humble from the situation, but no. But the point is this. I mean, he is demonstrating Islam because what has happened? He gets attacked by one of his own. He claims it's an injustice. So what is his recourse? Is he goes after, okay, and attacks the kafir. Okay? He goes and attacks the kafir. And he does the same thing that was done to him. Okay? By his own Muslim brother. And he does this, he attacks the kafir. Not only that, but Connie, I kind of think you trigger him. The reason why he targeted you is because, well, his ex-wife, who he's not a wife beater, he never beat her, even though he punched her in the forehead, but he didn't beat her. Okay? Her name is Connie. So honestly, I think just by the name that triggers this hatred, okay, that he has. But either way, bottom line is this, Kenny. I gotta tell you, I'm very disappointed in you. Okay, well, I shouldn't say I'm disappointed in you. I should say that, well, you never fail to disappoint us. Okay, or me in particular. But thanks to that, we got a great new sponsor. I'm gonna share my screen here. We'll take care of this. This is a great time for the break here. Let me pull it up here. What do I do with you? Hold on. We are a professional organization, as you can tell. All right, let me pull that up here. Go to share screen. Share screen. No.
Yeah, let me just say that people were asking in the chat that we had residual noise, and it was me. I had another window open that I did not mean. I don't know how. It doesn't matter. It's fixed now. Brad, what are you doing? You wanted to share your screen, and now you're taking 10 minutes to do that. How is it?
I'm trying to find it, dude. What happened?
Well,
Okay,
well,
if they are, what's that, Chris?
Okay, here we go. I got it. Go ahead.
I mean, if these people are going to be our sponsors, we got to be Ricky Tick with. We're not going to get paid.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I got it. I'm on it. Okay.
All right.
All right. Let me get my radio voice. Our new sponsors from the author of the book, You Might Be a Muslim, a.k.a. Kenny, if you. Intro to the book. The upcoming book by world-renowned best-selling author who is yet to be published, but she's the best-selling author, even though we can say this because, she is. Again, the book, You Might Be a Muslim, a.k.a. Kenny, if you plant the known Islamic falsehood. You plant seeds of Islamic division. You condition people to accept lying Islam. You are an Islamic fraud. You set your Islamic agenda. You are fighting mad when told Islam is a lie. It is. You perpetrate the propaganda. More lies. The choice is yours. Intro, Chapter 1. Yo ho ho and a plate of pork. You will learn such wonderful things as Islam, which is referred to as a plate of pork, indeed builds up walls of hatred and bigotry, since it has no witnesses to go by, but the heart of man to manipulate the evil upon it, to use men to murder one another. This plate of pork is evil thoughts and murder by no other than sons of the father of lies, pawns of the devil. We see these walls of Islam that the devil has built through manipulated men which are entrapped, who know better, but to follow blindly this plate of pork. Islam, these walls have succumbed many of the raging men to defend the very evil that has held them captive, some at birth. That's right, people. Pick up your soon-to-be released copy of You Might Be a Muslim, a.k.a. Kenny, if at wherever you buy your books, somewhere, Amazon.com, whatever. But anyway, soon to be released, again, You Might Be a Muslim, a.k.a. Kenny, if. Pick it up where fine books are sold everywhere.
Wow. That looks... And how long did it take Sister Connie to write that book?
Shh, we can't tell the author's name.
Oh.
She's a world-renowned best-selling author, even though she hasn't published a book yet. But that didn't stop the imam from claiming that. You know that? I'm the author of the best-selling book. Your book hasn't been published yet. No, but that's what I'm told to say. Okay. But no, seriously, you know what? It's funny. I've been thinking about this. Like you actually pointed out, Eric. You said, whenever you crack a joke with the dude, he freaks out. He has like no sense of humor. And I cracked that joke about him reading for an hour. Dude, I am not making this up. I traveled all over my hood and did all kinds of stuff while he was reading from his book and came back to him. You know what I mean? Like an hour and a half later. But I made the joke and he got all offended by it. And it's like, dude, for a big tough guy, for a guy that knows how to use his fists, remember he says that I have my fists to defend me, blah, blah, and he's going to beat me up. He's going to do all this other stuff. When we finally do meet, hopefully in January, February of this year, if not, it'll be in June sometime. Or I'm going to give him the opportunity to meet me, I should say. But here's the thing. I thought this dude was short. I thought he was a short little dude. I thought he was like 5'0" the way he carries on. Like he's got the serious hardcore Napoleon syndrome going on here. You know what I mean? No, it's really bad. And then I looked up his arrest record, okay, and everything. It turns out, no, he's 5'9". He's like 260, 75 pounds, and no, he's, he's a big boy. But I'm like, dude, for a big tough guy, to be, to overreact on everything, right? I thought he was overcompensating for his height, but now I'm thinking he's overcompensating for something that's a little bit smaller. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, dude, seriously, Kenny, now we got to respond to you. You know what I mean? Now we got to respond to this. I mean,
it's absolutely, and it's, and people have pointed this out in chat. This is just absolutely juvenile. It really is. Let me copyright them and get their channel. This is what little children do. When you've lost an argument, this is what you do. If you're going to put yourself out there and you're going to say, okay, I'm this, and pretend you're this pious person being attacked by the shaitan, them devils over there at that channel attack me incessantly, and they're always. If you're going to put yourself out there as being some whiz bang of smart,
yeah, he's really smart. He's smarter than me.
Yeah, we knew that. Right. Of course, why? Because he said so. But if you're going to put yourself out there, and then when your points are challenged, and this is what got him all upset last year, is when I was critiquing his pathetic little book that I got here. He was all upset about that, and. One of the things that I did ask him, I said, are you going to at least put a bibliography in this book where you can actually demonstrate some of these points that you're trying to make? And I got 6 pages of a bibliography. All right, well, good luck with that. I'm going to check your sources is what I'm going to do. That's if I ever get this book. I think he had, didn't you say that he put this out like in a PDF or something already?
Well, no. So he's releasing his second edition of Confronting the Propagandas. I don't know, that ridiculously long title that, thanks to you, inspired him to name it Confronting the Propagandists of Hate, whatever it is. I forgot what it is. It's a ridiculously long title.
Because we are on it. Let me remove the swine here on top of this book. Because we are the swine.
I can't believe you bought it.
Again. Yeah, I know. I'm a child.
Hey, Eric. I just wanted to announce to everybody, I am an author. I am Ontario renowned, Canadian-wide known. I wrote a grocery list today.
And pinned it to your fridge, dude. That's right, for publication.
Just saying, hey, if Kenny can claim it just for writing a few words, I could do the same thing.
And why not? I mean, is allowed. Okay.
But Chris, are you a doctorate student at some university that nobody ever heard of, and you mispronounced it to make it sound like it was Michigan University?
I've been Dr. Chris Claus for a long time. If you go on to Pal Talk, remember, I have a PhD in refutation and exposure of Islamic doctrines.
That's right.
Got that from Pal Talk University.
That's right. Yep.
And I finally figured out how to get on Pal Talk last week.
Why would you stay away from that?
Is that what we were on, Chris? Was that Pal Talk that you had that debate the other night with that kid?
No,
No, that's discourse. Yeah.
Discord.
That was Discord. All right, never mind. All right,
All right, I have multiple books. So anytime he wants to talk to someone who's actually published, I have 4 books on the topic of civilization jihad, and numerous and working on devotionals. So
I have your other book over here too. Thank you.
But Paul, have you taken 2 class? Paul, have you taken 2 classes from Michoacan? What is Mishka?
Mishka.
It
sounds like Michigan. It sounds like Michigan.
He deliberately mispronounced it. But no, Mishka online school of how to interpret the Tafsir, and have no idea what the hell you're talking about. No, seriously, that's Kenny. Okay.
Let's see, a graduate assist. I got a graduate certificate in intelligence analysis. I don't know. Master's. Yeah. So if he wants to compare knowledge, it sounds like everybody here on this panel has more knowledge than he does. So, I mean, I don't know what kind of actual school, if he ever went to one, and
he did.
And then if he went to one, did he ever graduate? Was the other question.
No. So here's the thing, Paul. So you're missing out kind of an inside joke. My first interaction with Kenny was he was bragging about how he's the author of the book, Confronting the Patriots of Hate, or whatever the title is. It's a ridiculously long title. Okay. So my dumbass, I go to Amazon because I want to see. Okay, this dude published the book. Okay. So I go to Amazon and I put in the title that he gave. It comes up nothing. I put in his name, Kenny Beaumont. Comes up nothing. And searching for authors. So I get back to him on Facebook and I said, dude, did I get your name wrong? Are you publishing under a pseudonym? Did I misspell the title of the book? Because I'm not finding it on Amazon. And he quickly retorts back, well, I haven't published yet. I'm still looking for a publisher, but I am the author of the book of Confronting the Patriots of Hate, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. This is one of the screenshots. This is my first interaction with Kenny. This is how I got introduced to Eric, by the way, because of this. This is totally funny.
And the worst in the history, yeah.
Exactly, blah, blah, blah. So let's read what he says here. Yes, I am the author of the book, blah, blah, blah. Hold on, let me pull it up here. I am the author of the book, Consider Islam, a 30-year revert from Christianity. He's a student of comparative religions, and I am working towards my doctorate. Do not pretend to tell me what I think or know. But this is how he always talks, always responds to this tone. I think or do not pretend to tell me what I think or know, especially when I'm confident that I can tell you more about your religion than you can possibly tell me about mine.
So leave that up for a second. This is put that back up. I'll tell you. Here's how you tell that this guy is a true idiot and doesn't know anything. Exactly. So let's take a look. It says, I am the author, and he capitalizes it. So now we know that he has less than a 3rd grade education because he capitalizes author and consider. He doesn't know. He doesn't understand basic capitalization, which, again, gets taught in 2nd and 3rd grade. 1st grade too, but they should know it by then. And then let's go to where he's mentioning he says a student of comparative religions, and he again.
Before that.
Them.
Before that.
Towards my doctorate, he gets a doctorate. Okay, if he was working towards a doctorate, he would have said PhD if he was actually a student. And he would not have said doctorate because that just doesn't work. And capitalize, again, he's showing people that he is not even close to a PhD student. He might not even, I don't think he could even get into a bachelor's program because he doesn't understand basic capitalization. I mean, I get typos like the 30. I'll accept that as a typo. But the inconsistencies of knowledge of how to use capitalization, that's sad. And then not knowing the difference between, he doesn't understand what a PhD is. That's what it comes down to. He calls it a doctorate, but he doesn't understand how to write it.
Well, he references in there, if you look at it, he references the fact that he knows more about your religion I know more about your religion than you do, and that's true. He knows so many more things that are wrong about my religion than Rad does. This is true. I mean, he knows that if he's following what Muhammad knew about Christianity, Muhammad thought Christianity was the belief in 3 separate gods. the Father, Allah, the Son, Jesus Christ, and the Mother of Mary. And if you want to try to argue, oh, no, that's not what it says in the Quran, well, that's what the first believers of Muhammad thought. We have Tasfir, it's in the Sirah, and we have Hadith confirming as much. So if he wants to say that he knows more about our religion than we do, well, you know more about our religion that is wrong than we do. That much is true. I mean, this is just a joke. I mean, when you read this, you're absolutely right, Paul. This is a joke.
Well, pull it up again, Eric. Paul, you didn't let me get to the punchline yet. Okay, remember, this is just my response. Okay, to me asking the question, your book title, your name, I can't find it on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now it says, now go find someone else to antagonize because you are in the wrong arena over here with me. Blah blah. Okay. Another script. Well, no, I'd have to find it, but there's another response for him. So he's a doctorate student. So I asked him, "Oh, you're a doctorate student. What's your thesis on? What are you studying?" And he responds to me, "Well, I haven't got my bachelor's yet."
So he hasn't got a high school diploma.
No, he doesn't even have that. No, he got a GED, which I have a GED, so I'm not complaining about the GED.
I don't think he has that because a person with a GED sees future. And he doesn't. That's
right.
That's kind of
scary.
Well, maybe. Okay. I don't even know how to spell GED, let alone.
It's G.E.D. Okay, real simple. That's how I got the GED. I can know how to spell it. Anyway,
GEDs, I have one.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I have one too. I also have a bachelor's degree in computer science. Anyway, and all kinds of certificates. Anyway, but the point being is this, okay? Right? He actually says he's a doctorate student and he hasn't even got his bachelor's degree yet. And I'm like, no, he says, I've taken 2 classes at Michigan University. Okay? And I'm like, dude, you've taken 2 classes, you haven't even got your. And he's like, he's in other words, he's under a psychotherapy analysis at this point in time. He's seeing a therapist, and his therapist conditioned him to project and say you are something. That's what you're going to achieve. He heard that, and he says, I'm going to tell everybody that's what I'm doing, even though it's not what he's doing. Okay, you know what I mean? So he misunderstood his therapist. How do we know he was under therapy? Because we have the therapist notes where it says, I'm telling him to quit planning about doing something big and actually start doing it. I mean, seriously, stop making plans. It actually says in the therapist notes to the court, stop making plans and start doing them. Okay? All right? Anyway, bottom line is this. Okay, so I'm like, wait, you're a doctorate student, but you haven't even, even attempted to get your bachelor's yet. Secondly, you're saying you're an author of a book that you haven't even published yet. I mean, best case, you used to say you're the writer of the book that's soon to be published. You know what I mean? And that's when he responds to me. He says, no, you look up any online course on writing, they will tell you to promote yourself as the author, and that's what I'm doing here. Yeah, seriously, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And that's when he said, and that's when he started. And I did not even realize it at the time until we looked at the screenshots and other people point out he tags this dude named Marshall Gregory, okay, in the comment section. And then he responds to me, off to Pakistan with you, which I still think it's kind of funny,
it's kind of like Pakistan, but it's block.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
What they call that when somebody imitation is a sign of
admiration.
Right. Yeah. Well, no. First he challenges me to a debate, and then he tags this dude Marshall Gregory in it. And then he says, off to Pakistan with you. Okay? I hope you enjoy your time in Facebook jail. I didn't know what he meant by that. I had no clue. Because I had never been in Facebook jail. I didn't even know what that meant. Okay? Anyway, so then Eric, I don't know who introduced me to Eric, but anyway, it came up because we had a mutual, associate named Kenny. He says, hey, come on my show. I'm going to have Kenny on. You can talk to him. I'm like, yeah, because the dude challenged me to debate. I'm willing to debate him, but now he's blocked me. You know what I mean? And he's not responding to my emails. So I go on there. Kenny, I was so pissed at Eric because he made me sit out there on the phone just listening to Kenny, and he wouldn't bring me on. And then he finally says after a half hour, I'm going to bring on, Robert, Wells here. And I don't want nothing to do with him. I don't want to hear with him. He's very rude. Remember that? You can go listen. He's a very rude individual. I'm going to say I asked him about his book. So then I get on there. Okay. And evidently Kenny kept listening the whole time. I forgot what we talked about.
Well, he insisted that Kel, that's when Kel was in the studio for me, and she was able to keep me abreast of what's going on behind the scenes.
And then a week or 2 weeks later, the cyber jihad started against me, man. And all of a sudden, dude, it started me, Chris, everyone. We were in Facebook jail more than for 3 years. For 3 years, more than we were on Facebook. And we could just type something simple as, good morning. I have it. Good morning, Facebook. I'm out of jail. And all of a sudden, 3 hours later, it's reported. And because it's mass reported by like hundreds of people, all of a sudden I'm in Facebook jail. And this is all because of Kenny and this Marshall dude. But anyway, anyway, that was a long story. I didn't mean to go on that long about this dude. But yeah.
Well, we know he's a doctor because this is how he's practiced medicine. We found this out sharing his knowledge with our sister Elizabeth Milan, chastising her for having the temerity to say that urine is actually therapeutic. I mean, it's an animal urine is a fact.
Oh, was it? Yeah, I thought it was just camel urine. That's the first time I've heard it was all animal urine.
Well, do you realize that animal urine does indeed have healing capacities? I see, but that's really not what I'm sure that's not what the conversation was about. I'm sure the conversation dealt with camel urine, and this is one of his often attempted attempts to conflate the issue to avoid the patently obvious things that his false prophet had to say. Okay. Is Connie here? Connie, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you have anything to say tonight, or?
Well, I bought Kenny's book back in April, his first book, and I pre-ordered. Yes, and I it's my own reasons, I mean, I just want to be a blessing, and then I pre-ordered his other book, just about a week ago.
I would cancel that pre-order.
Okay, sorry. I want to hear what she has to say. Go ahead.
But when he made that 3-hour slander video of me claiming that I was telling the people in there that I was a Muslim for 30 years, that really got me to, wanting to do those small little videos to show him who the slanderer really is, and it's himself. I did it as a mirror, and instead of him, taking some corrective criticism from me, he chooses to turn it against me.
Any type of criticism is considered hostility as far as he's concerned.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if it's constructive criticism or not. So you did buy this book, right? This one?
Yeah. I got the ebook, and then I ordered the ebook.
Okay. Notice how it says disproving the patriots of propaganda. Well, we happened to broadcast. Paul and I happened to broadcast on the Global Patriot Radio Network, and the flagship show for that is called Mamma Mia, No Sharia. So if you look on the back here, you will notice right there in the middle. You can't see that, can you?
No, it's blurry.
All right. This sign right here says Mamma Mia, No Sharia. So he made a little graphic about the flagship show for the station, and thinks that we're purveyors of propaganda, which I don't think he understands what the actual term. Well, I don't think. I know he doesn't know what the term propaganda means, because he keeps saying that the United States media in our country spews propaganda about Islam all the time. And I don't know how any more butthurt you could be in order to make that statement. But evidently he's reached a plateau here, and I hope it levels off for him and doesn't get any worse in his upcoming screed Okay. Let's see. Did we want to? We finally wanted to get on to the topic at hand. Is that okay if we do that? Because that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. I didn't want to talk about this.
Yeah, let's go, man.
All right. Great. All right. I am excited now. Let's go ahead and bring up the gospel message. Why we should, or what was the question? The question of the show is: have the gospels been corrupted? Well, the first thing you have to answer, there was somebody that was in chat.
Can I add something? I just got something here for Mr. Kenny.
Yeah, go ahead.
May I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Kenny, and I know you're listening, sir, and I'm asking you, just please remove those reports and ask Jamal. And I also ask you to remove that 3-hour video that you slandered me, and I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Hopefully he'll get this message. Well, if not, well, then we'll just send him a copy of the video here and say at whatever timestamp. What are we at? We're at, isn't there like a clock I got here on the screen that I'm supposed to be able to see how long we've been on?
Yeah, it would be at 45:50, you would say. Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
46:10. 46:11.
There we go.
That's
all right.
Paul speaking.
Now, why would I not be able to see that on my screen? If I,
Yeah, it shows it on our side. We can barely see your face.
Oh, here it is. It's right. Okay, it's right here. Nope, right here.
Yeah.
It's right here.
We're a professional organization, people.
I'm sitting there looking, where the heck is it? It's here someplace. There it is. Okay, whoever this Muslim pauper person is, the Bible is full of fabrication, contradiction.
That's a boss. That is a boss. Look at his icon. That's a
Well,
boss.
boss? Ah,
Yeah,
okay. If the boss wants to come on, bring it, baby. I would love for you to come in here and we can talk about the adulterous woman in John if you want to. You want to go there, gunfighter? Let's go. Here's the problem. When these supposed contradictions, these interpolations, these variants, all these things are brought up, the difference between Christianity and Islam is that we talk about them, we can discuss them, and we can have open, honest discussions about them. And in the process of doing this, we don't get all butthurt, we don't get all upset. And the biggest thing is that we don't have people leave their faith because there might be an error in the Bible. There might be an interpolation. There might be an insertion. It's not a big deal. And the reason why it's not a big deal is because all of these little things that people like you want to nip at everybody's ankles about has no effect whatsoever on the true gospel message.
Right.
None of it does. There is not one variant insert. None of these things in the gospels have any impact on the core teaching, any core teaching of Christianity. If you want to bring one, well then I would love you to do is to come on the show and show us a core teaching one, because we know that the Bible does not teach us that that in order to be saved that you need to believe in the story of the adulterous woman. It does not teach that. I don't think that there's any. I'm pretty sure there's no denomination out there that hinges their entire doctrine on the idea that a woman got caught in an adultery and needs to be forgiven. I don't see that happening. Now, if there is, by all means, you come on up in here and you show us who this is. The New Testament has 138,120 words in it. I think that's the number. Somewhere around there. Doesn't matter. But it's close. And here's what's really laughable for people like you, because you will make the claim and say, well, there's over 400,000 variants in those 138,120 words. And that's true. You are absolutely 100% correct. There are that many variants. But all you would have to do is watch a Dan Wallace video or two, and you will learn how asinine, and when I say asinine, I mean that specifically. It is asinine to make or level a charge like that to assert that the Bible has been corrupted, the gospel has been corrupted. It is. It's just absolutely absurd. Because of those 400,000 plus, I'll even say there's even more than that, those 400,000 plus variants that we do find in the New Testament manuscripts, 99.7% of them have no impact whatsoever on the viability or the meaningfulness of the text. It's only 0.3% that are either viable or meaningful. The rest of them are, let's say, different ways of spelling people's names, or they're different word orders that the thing was the manuscript was written in, or there are words left out, or there are words added to. One great one is John 5:4. I think this is what we would call an insertion. Oh my gosh, there was an insertion into the Bible. Yes, there was. Oh yes, there was. And this woman caught in adultery is probably an insertion. However, I'll get to that story here in a little bit. However, John 5:4, it talks about the pool of Bethesda. As a matter of fact, let me pull out my Bible right here, and I'll read it to you. John 5:4. John, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Let's see. Chapter 4, chapter 5. Oh, here it is. John 5:4. Let's see here. For an angel went down at a certain time into the pool and stirred up the water. Then whoever stepped in it first after the stirring of the water was made well of whatever disease he had. That is not found in some of the earliest manuscripts, that verse right there. And where the scholars, people who study this stuff, for a living, believe that came from is that when some scribe at some point in time in ages past went to write that verse, copy that verse, people may have wondered, well, why? Because it starts there. Now there's the feast of the Jews, verse 1. Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is in Jerusalem by the sheep gave a pool, which is called in Hebrew Bethesda, having. In these lay a great multitude of 6 people, blind, lame, paralyzed, waiting for the moving of the water. And then it says why that water would move and why the people were there waiting for the movement. That's the why, discussing the verse prior to that. And so what people believe happened is that some scribe at some point in time out in the margins may have written why that had happened. So we know where these insertions come from. And sometimes, as the woman caught in adultery, or in 1 John 5:8 is where it talks about the Trinity. We know that those are insertions. And you know why we know those are insertions? Because number one, we can discuss them without cutting each other's heads off. But more importantly, number two, we have 2.5 million pages of Greek manuscript evidence supporting that. Over 5,800 different Greek manuscripts supporting that. We have what Dan Wallace, who's probably the leading Greek New Testament scholar in the country today, says that we have I always get this wrong. Somebody's going to have to correct me. We have something of evidence. We have an embarrassment of riches.
Compendium.
An embarrassment of riches is what we have. We are embarrassed by the number of manuscripts that we have to attest to the validity of the New Testament. It's an embarrassment of riches. It's not an absence of it. It's an embarrassment of the number that we have. So when you go and count all that up and actually do the math on that, that comes out to about one variant every 5 pages. And what you were also missing is the fact of how these New Testaments were copied. These things were not copied on what we call vellum, which is your animal skins. These New Testaments were copied on what they call papyrus. And when we say papyrus is this is where we get the word paper. If I'm correct on, am I correct?
Made of reeds.
What's that? Yeah, it's made of reed. Yeah. And they smashed them together, and it basically made paper. But when you think about that, you got reeds. It's very brittle. They do not preserve well. So the fact that we have any papyri left at all should be considered a miracle. But that's not the Paul Harvey on this. When they were transmitting these New Testament, these letters from the apostles, written to each other, to the churches in the regions, these letters were copied not by professional scribes, not by professional people who do these copies, because that would have been too expensive. You can't, and plus the writing material itself would have been too expensive. These guys were church members, wanted to get this letter, take this letter back to their church, get a copy of this letter that had been sent to them to another neighboring church. That's how it was transmitted. But here's the beauty of all this, and this is God in this. When we look at these letters, when we look at these epistles, when we look at these gospels and how they were copied and exchanged with one another, and the different people copying them from different dialects within Greek, different dialects, or even different languages, Aramaic and Syriac and Hebrew, they are all spot on. All of them are spot on in their narrative. When you start nitpicking about, well, this letter wasn't there, or this word was added here, or this word was written twice. When you start doing that, you make yourself to look like an ass, because that just tells everybody that you have no idea when you start saying corruption. You have no idea how textual criticism is done. And you might as well just say that. I have no idea how textual criticism is done, but I know that the Bible sucks. I know that the gospel message sucks. And then when you couple on top of all of that, when you compound all of this with this fact here, that the Christian church from its very inception was, number one, persecuted by the Jews. The Jews persecuted the Christians. So anything that the Christians had would try to get out there or try to share with one another, they were persecuted for. Then they were persecuted by the Romans. And the Roman persecution lasted for, 3 centuries, almost 3 centuries, all the way up to Diocletian. And all this time, Christian scripture would be confiscated. People would be thrown into jail for possessing it. Pastors would be tortured and killed. People would be thrown. This is where we get when we start looking at Justin's Book of Martyrs, that I have it here someplace. Doesn't matter. When you start reading Justin's Book of Martyrs, we learn real quick the type of persecution that these early Christians faced. And that would confiscate their scripture. So the fact that anything
it's still... Fox's Book of Martyrs.
Yeah, what did I call it?
Justin.
Oh, did I? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, that's probably why I can't find it on the shelf. It's because I'm looking for the wrong book. I get going too fast on that. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. But yeah, when you start reading Fox's Book of Martyrs, you'll read all about the widespread persecution throughout the Christian empire. And that lasted for centuries. So the fact that we have any of the Gospels in of itself is a miracle. And so to make this claim that, what did he say again? What was it? That's not him. What was the claim that he made? It was about the insertion that we find in John. I'm looking for it. I'm sorry, guys.
I didn't read over it, so I
he
was
was making a claim
that
about the adulterous woman.
Oh yeah, the woman caught in adultery. That's right.
He's claiming it's a fiction.
Yeah, and he was. What did he say about that though? It's too bad he's not around. If you want to come on the show, send me an email or send me a message put a message in here, and I'll send it to you. Where is it? Where did he go?
You know that guy that I sent you? His name is Javid T, I think. Hashem. He is, he claims to be a scholar. He's probably a better one to start talking to because at least he's honest with a lot of things. He's scholarly. He just got finished doing a Spencer.
Oh, I saw that guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to be a doctor from Harvard or something.
He's working on his PhD.
No, he doesn't say Harvard. He says one of the Muslim universities. And he does speak pretty scholarly, you know. I mean,
well, wasn't this guy okay? Are you talking about the same debate that Robert Spencer did? Because he got in a debate
recently.
with this.
I didn't get to watch it, but yeah.
Javid.
Steve, if you're in there, come up on in here and tell us about this guy. Because I saw Steve. Here he is, Hussein Mashni. I'm on Steve. Click on here, get up in here, and tell us about this debate because Steve interviewed Robert Spencer.
Yes, he did. I watched it
yesterday.
live.
Yeah, I watched it twice. I was out there.
I actually got on panel with Robert, and yeah. But anyway, well, maybe I didn't know. I think I did not. But at least, you know, I would say that guy Javid, he's a lot more caliber than unfortunately people like Ibn Abbas. You know that would be a lot more better to listen to.
This Muslim pauper guy.
Yeah. Well, yes, Javid. Hakim, I think his name is something like that.
Yeah, we had Dr. Kufar Phobia had what's his name on his show on was it Saturday? I think it was Saturday. Had Yahya. You guys know Yahya?
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, that was.
He was at least polite, at the very least.
That's
saying he was honest, but he was at least polite.
This is true. Telling me to be quiet. I don't know how polite that is. You need to be quiet. You won't let me on your show. And I said, well, you let me on your show because you think Khatun deserved what she got. I mean, come on. I ain't going to put you on the show. Quit whining about it. I was kind of hoping that he would show up tonight. Because I would like to hear some of his arguments against the integrity of the New Testament. Yeah, you're right, Darcy. That was a painful show to listen to. Okay, so this is supposed to intimidate us, say that the adulterous woman, the woman called an adultery, is supposed to somehow phase us as Christians. And yeah, you're right. And he started blaspheming, and that's what he was calling the Holy Spirit a dog. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing he didn't come tonight. We might have to get on him about that. Okay, does anybody have anything they want to add to this? Take away instead of sitting there listening to me run my yammer all night? Nobody.
I think you're doing fine.
Okay, well, I was kind of hoping for some dialogue, is what I was kind of hoping for.
Well, I have yet to hear. I mean, I've had encounters with people making claims of contradictions. I says, I'll say to them, can you show me one? Right. And they'll look and they'll, you know, they usually find a book that claims there are contradictions, and they go from that. And, you know, some of these things are from translation differences. Some of them are these contradictions that they talk about are actually used as proof of eyewitness accounts. When they're talking about Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the claimed contradictions where they pull them out are actual from a detective. They have a detective that's written a book on eyewitness accounts in the gospel and how those accounts actually fit, which, you know, yeah, those contradictions are actually important. They reveal that the gospels are accurate. Right. And so, you know, you accept some of those things and they just sit there and go, you're accepting them? Like, yeah, they prove the gospels are accurate. And they're like, they walk away like, what are you talking about? You know, there are some of those things. I have yet to meet somebody who wants to make these claims they'll say, I've read the Bible. Okay. Here's a problem with what you're saying. I don't believe you had any historical background when you read it, of anything you read. And I don't believe you read it for any other purpose than to tear it apart, and you didn't actually study it. I mean, the interesting thing about the Bible is, I mean, I'm reading passage every day, and here I am, 57 years old, and I've been doing this for God knows how long, and I'm learning something new every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I just fail to see how he can pick it up, read it maybe once, and I mean, Bible's not a small book, and then claim he knows everything. So I mean, that's
that
the
just
kind of
shows
stuff
his
I run
pride
into.
right there. That just shows that he has not come to God, which you don't come to God in a prideful heart. You know, he breaks that. He wants you to be a contrite, a broken spirit, contrite heart.
Well,
You know, so it just shows that you can't come to God with pride.
Connie, you are so right. The river of water of life is what is grace, and river runs downhill. Water runs downhill.
So
It doesn't go uphill. And when you're in the valleys, that's where grace grabs you. That's where it's not shallow. So yes, and then the question is, as John Bunyan asked, can you live always and never without the river of water of life? And that's John Bunyan asked, are you a fish, man? Can you live always and never without the river of water of life? I've met a lot of people who claim these contradictions, but with Islam, when you start talking about contradictions, they have a doctrine to deal with contradictions. So they openly admit their contradictions, but how they deal with it is striking out parts of the Quran. Then they get mad at people when they tear out pieces of the Quran or burn the Quran or pieces of the Quran. So I'm kind of confused when they say, well, this verse contradicts that verse. So the newer verse says the older one is no good.
Right. Abrogation.
So if that's so, why don't you just take those abrogated pieces out and then let's see what you have left?
Yeah, I've been asking that for a long time, and with their hadiths, you know, just go ahead and give us the final copy of it. Let the world critique it like they've critiqued, you know, the Bible for all these centuries, and it's proved itself. You know, not that it's, you know, anything of, you know, the thing is with their Quran, they worship the darn thing. They think it's uncorrupted, you know, and you know, they have to lift it up high in the home. You know, I mean, they're nigh into worshiping it. We don't worship it. We want to know the truth. If there's something that we learned that wasn't in the Bible, well, we make the note of it. Is this wasn't in the original, and we move on.
And it's not that hard. I mean, that's what it comes down to. You either accept that. I mean, this is what it comes down to when we're talking about if we want to treat things the same. Okay, so when we critique the Bible, we should critique the Quran the same way. We should critique the Hadith the same way. We should critique the Bhagavad Gita the same way. You know, the Bhagavad Gita, the Hindus don't mind if you do. The only one who minds about their holy book being critiqued are the followers of Islam, because they start to get upset because it proves in many ways. As Radical Moderate, I think it was Radical Moderate who recently did that little video on it. Actually questions when the critique is done. Does things like, does God know how he created man? Because he has to keep changing his mind. So you have to, if you're actually doing a serious critique, you would ask those things.
And it would prove that it's not trustworthy.
Yeah. And that's where they can't have you do that, because it becomes offensive when it shows there's no truth.
Right.
Because it's those people who are true believers actually then are people who either do not read and emulate their prophet by being illiterates and just accept what they're told. I mean, you sit there and wonder.
Well, if in order to, this is the problem, when you are not allowed to disagree with what the scholarly consensus is, that's considered apostasy. I mean, they consider it apostasy to disagree with the Quran or to say that something does not belong to the Quran. I have it right here.
That's right in the Reliance of the Traveler. I mean, it's right documented exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
So if you dare to disagree, you are now declared an apostate. If you don't accept what the original, I can't remember the exact documentation.
So here's the words: to speak, to revile Allah and His Messenger is apostasy. Let's see here: to deny any verse of the Quran or anything which by scholarly consensus belongs to it, or to add a verse that does not belong to it. That's apostasy. Apostasy is punishable by
death.
If they don't repent.
Right, and if you would do, I mean, if you would dare to criticize the book, I mean, this is what they do. They take you out and cut your head off. Here in the West, we don't do that. We actually talk to people. We actually have these discussions. We actually engage in dialogue and debate. But when you cannot defend the indefensible, which is the Quran, this is what you do. You go get somebody's YouTube channels taken down. You try to get them banned from Facebook. You call them all these ugly names. Some of them, and here, some of the most ugly names. If you were going to call somebody, if I was to say, Paul, you're a homophobe, well, what does that imply? That implies you're a bigot. It's the same thing. You might as well just say, Paul, you're a bigot. You're a racist. And that's one of the most repugnant things to be called today in modern society is to be called a racist. I mean, you can be called a murderer, and I mean that's of course bad. You can be called.
Well, I've actually threatened people with lawsuits for saying things like that because it's defamatory is one. It can cause you to lose income. I mean,
exactly right.
That's yeah. Again, so when people make those statements, you have to respond. Unfortunately, today with, all right, do I need to legally pursue you, or are you going to apologize? And that's an unfortunate truth today. We're in an era where we stopped. For God, I will never grasp any sense of reason except for the purpose that communism runs our public school system. They removed logic from being taught in our math classes. So our children get no grasp of the importance of it. Social studies teachers are the ones teaching logic. They start in junior high. They teach the different, the big words that they teach. The big thing that is taught in logic in social studies classes is the difference between and or. And it's extremely important, isn't it, Eric?
Yes.
Well, that's because logic is racist. Don't you understand it? It's racist. Just saying.
Yeah.
The foundation of all that is known. That's what logic is. It's the basis of knowledge. All knowledge. And
this is what when you cut off the criticism of any of this knowledge or a criticism or even a critiquing of it, and you label somebody with a pejorative, which means they're a bigot, like an Islamophobe. You might be an Islamophobe if. I mean, he was even calling people on his show the other night, people that lived contemporaneously with Muhammad, Islamophobes. To me, I mean, that to me right there just shows the utter depravity and weakness of his arguments. When you start labeling people who early on, when Muhammad, number one, demonstrated dink to be a prophet, and when people started criticizing him, well, Kenny calls them Islamophobes. Well, the Islamophobe, he had her killed. Well, that's what they did, is they had people killed back then. We talked about this on Sunday. Over 40 different murders that he ordered or consented to for people that would dare to criticize him. Really? You have to have some really weak skin in order to do that. Now, you juxtapose that to Christianity. You juxtapose that next to the Bible and the gospel. That survived despite even the most harshest criticism against it, where people that would dare to even believe it were taken out and killed. Now it's just the opposite. People who would dare to even criticize it or not believe it are taken out, and they're killed for that. So it's just the complete opposite. And plus, if you compare the teachings between Muhammad and Jesus, you can't get any more antithetical than what we find as far as a murderous, genocidal, ethnic cleansing, raping, murdering. I mean, it's just, and then you compare that to
I think you're missing one part in all of this. You know, the people, according to the Quran and the Sirahs, Muhammad would go around and he would speak, and the people would ask him for a miracle.
Yeah.
And they would explain why they wanted a miracle. They thought he was demon possessed. Okay, it says this over, and I think it says it like 5 times in the Quran. I could be wrong.
Yes, yes, that's about it. Yes, sir.
So, you know, if the people of his day asked him for a miracle because they feared he was demon possessed, and okay, if a man's demon possessed and he refuses them and he doesn't give them anything, do you think they're going to believe him during that day? And then if he gets power, this demon-possessed man gets power, he goes off and has those people murdered who dared to question that he was a prophet. And this guy claimed he was a prophet of the Jews on top of that.
Right.
And this, and as I keep saying, this prophet of the Jews couldn't honor the Sabbath. So he would be considered an idiot. He wouldn't even be considered. I'm sorry. I'm saying that that's a wrong term. See, an idiot would get consideration because the technical definition of an idiot has to do with mental retardation.
Right.
So they would be allowed the exception to the rule. Now, if you are mentally deficient, we'll put it that way. Okay, we understand. They're understanding. Now, if you are depraved, sorry. So again, they're the ones. He's the one who brings it back up. In fact, he goes after the Jews for not coming to help him in a time of needed warfare on a Sabbath day. He's the one who brings it up, that he violates the Sabbath. Nobody else brings it up but Muhammad. So again, let's talk about his contradictions. He contradicts himself as a prophet when he openly admits he wanted to kill the Jews because they wouldn't take part in a Sabbath war, a war on the Sabbath. That's an open proclamation that he was not a prophet.
Exactly. You know.
Well, there's a lot of things that he said in the Quran that clearly demonstrate that he's not a prophet. And we've gone over these ad nauseum on this show. And and what's fun is that we can still sit here and discuss it and figure out new things that we might have missed or may have failed to say before. But the bottom line is that because you were saying that in the Quran it says 5 different places that he was what again? I can't remember exactly.
That he might be demon possessed. That the people were asking him to do miracles.
And there's 5 times.
And there's several places in the Quran, at least 4, where they accuse him of telling tales of ancients, telling stories that already pre-existed. And they're like, hey, we already know these stories exist. And Andrew Bannister, have you guys heard of Andy Bannister? Andrew Bannister.
I haven't heard of him, but that's me.
I have his book here. It's called The Systematic Analysis. No, I have it here. I have it here someplace. Anyway, in this book, what he does is that he shows using computer algorithms of the number of times words are used, that the Quran is nothing but an assemblage of stories that existed at that time. They're told the same way in the same type of tempo and the same type of rhythm. A formulaic analysis of the Quran is what it's called. And this was his, this was his doctoral thesis. This was his PhD thesis that he had to defend, and it essentially just tears the origins of the Quran to pieces. It just essentially makes Muhammad nothing more than a what do you like an
A
act?
buffoon, a
Well,
pretender.
he was a buffoon and a pretender. This is
I think
true.
the pretender is the best way to put
But
it, unfortunately.
it just shows him that he was nothing but like a not a public speaker, but somebody that goes out and puts on performances. Not like an actor, but
Like a drama queen,
yeah,
drama.
gosh,
There's another
that
word
proves
to
it.
it.
That's where Kenny gets it. It's Suna
I
again,
know, that's what I was thinking. Because
engaging in.
Kenny's really a good speaker. I'll give that to him. He does have a God-given gift of that. He's a good speaker, but he's using it not for God. He's using it to bully people and try to push people over. He needs to bring it righteously
Well,
to
he does
God.
it. He also uses it to blaspheme God because the things that he says
Yeah,
about
he
Jesus
really
Christ are
is.
just unconscionable. Um,
Yeah, he's negating his own salvation that is there for him, and we've told him that, and I'm sure other people have too. He's negating his own salvation that Christ came.
yeah, well, it's Islamophobic to do that, so we all know that. Okay, guys, we're going to cut it.
For anybody who wants a copy of this document that was just mentioned, I'm going to put a link in the YouTube. I just found it.
What was it called again, Paul?
The formulaic. I found it. That. So it's right there. It's a free download.
All right, thank you. Well, do I need to post that into chat?
I put it in the chat for you.
Oh, you did. Oh, it's right there in the chat for me. Thanks. Okay, we're going to call it a night, guys. I got a couple things that I got to get done this evening before the sun rises in the morning. A couple things. I got quite a few things I got to get done. Don't forget to come by and see us on Sunday. If any of you guys have any topics that you want to bring up Sunday, I mean, by all means, email me, text me, message me, or you can even call me too. And we can talk about it. And we can develop what the show would want to. Let's see. Christian family man, you can hear and see internal conflict, and when it comes to the actions of Muhammad, pray for Kenny. He needs a little help. I agree with that. I mean, he's in my prayers. I mean, all those guys. And well, I'm not going to mention any names, but one person, a couple people over there, I pray for continuously, and it's important that we continue to do that. All right. Anybody else got anything? Let me, Connie, do you have anything to add tonight?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All righty. And George might be AWOL.
Yes, I'm here.
There he is. You got anything you want to add tonight?
Yeah, there's something that had crossed my mind when we were looking at your friend there, Mr. the Imam. And,
I thought he was you're the one that debated him, didn't you?
Yes. Well, I found him to be disingenuous. I found him to be a dishonest individual who pretends to be nice. He does a good job of doing that, but he is really, and I hope he's listening. I think he's dishonest. I think for example, I give you an example. I'm not just saying these things just off the top of my head. We were looking at Quran 9:29. You know, that one that says the people, even if the people of the book, you must subjugate them until they say that Allah and Muhammad is a prophet. So I pointed that one out to him, that it was the people of the book are Christians and Jews. He said no. He said it's not. He said it's talking about pagans. And the reason why I don't and the reason
talking about children, you said?
Pagans, the pagans.
Pagans. No, it's
pagans. Okay. All right,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, so Quran 9:29 could never be talking about pagans. It says
it's those that have been given the scriptures. Exactly. That's the Jews and the Christians.
Absolutely, Connie.
Absolutely.
But Kenny says no, it's the pagans. It's pagans. And I
Wow.
asked him to show me where. How do you arrive at that? He said it's because I don't understand Arabic. Which you know,
No. See, the thing is he never opens up the Quran and shows the people. He just tells them what it says. And then when someone tries to correct him when it's in the Hadith, he says, "Well, you're not reading it correctly in the Quran." So he doesn't even know where it's at in the Quran or in the Hadith. He did that with Danny the other day.
yeah.
That's the humorous part. You go to any, I'd say
Mm.
almost any church in America, and when we have a biblical preacher up there, he's going to say, "Do you have your Bibles with you?" And doesn't matter what translation they have. Okay, we're going to read, so everybody can check the preacher at that time.
Yeah.
And that's what you're supposed to be doing.
And
Well,
that,
he
sadly,
doesn't.
that won't
Go ahead.
happen in Islam.
Yeah, well, what he does normally is that he'll put you backstage and he'll sit there and ramble on for
Exactly.
an hour and he'll call you all kinds of names and tell you how weak-minded you are, and all the while pretending to be nice. I don't mean any offense, no offense, but Jesus Christ was nothing but a man. No offense that you're believing in a corrupted book. No offense. That's what he does.
And he has to tell you how smart he is, and he's really really smart, and you're just not smart enough, to deal with him. That's kind of the
Yeah,
problem
the
because he's
program
really really
is
smart, like
Crescent
Marshall
Discussion.
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Well,
has a
when Kenny does a thing, then when people does the same thing to show him the mirror of himself, he doesn't get it.
yes.
Like him trying to attack Eric. So then you decided, Rad, okay, well, I'm gonna look up this guy. I'm
Well,
gonna look him up and see what's going on with him. And
But
you found
I'm
the
still waiting.
best of things.
Still
Rad,
waiting. I'll go ahead, George.
Rad had warned me. I don't know if Rad remembers, but some time ago, maybe late last year or something like that, Rad had warned me. Or Rad said, George, do not go back on Kenny's program. He's an asshole.
That sounds like something Rad would say. Yeah,
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 no,
about Rad there.
Rad
quote
not,
unquote. Yeah.
but I didn't listen to Rad. I didn't listen to what Rad said. I still went back, and the reason why I went on Kenny's program, I just believe that there are people who might be listening to him who want to hear the truth. And remember, we need to understand that as Christian believers, these people will never hear the truth of the gospel from somebody like Kenny Bowman. These imams will always filter the gospel to make it seem as bad as possible. Why? Because we need to understand that Islam was raised up directly by Satan to attack the Christian gospel. That's the purpose of Islam. Do you notice when their apologists are speaking and you point out an error in the Quran, they fall back to the Bible. Oh, well, the Bible says this and the Bible says that. Islam was raised up to attack the Christian gospel. So people will never hear the truth of the gospel from one of these people. No, especially from a dishonest individual like Kenny Bowman. They'll never hear it from them, right? So it's important for us to reach these people somehow, and that's what I have been trying to do. But Rad has been proven correct when he told me not to debate this guy, that he's a dishonest snake, right? But I was surprised that Brad invested 5 hours listening to his stuff recently.
Took one for the team. Way to go, buddy. Okay.
Well, I have my reasons and my methodology, but yeah, I'm still not done with him yet. So I got some special planned. Yeah. No. See, he became my white whale, dude. When I told George that he wasn't my white whale yet, but now he's my white whale, man. Now he's, and I am Ahab. I am telling you, I am on the hunt for the white whale. I'm just saying.
Okay, well, don't become too
obsessed
with
his
it.
Salvation. Of course, for his salvation.
Right. Well, I mean, don't become too obsessed with it because, you do have a life and there's some things that are just not worth your time. Paul, did you have anything to throw at us before we go?
No, I think this was. I think it's good to have discussions, open discussions, and that's the thing I keep thinking we won't find in Islam, because I have yet to hear. And as I said the other day, with you and I can't remember, it was Rad. I've yet to hear. I said it to Yahya, and he heard it. I've yet to hear a Muslim who comes to debate us who actually understands what we believe.
Well, they can't understand what we believe because Muhammad didn't understand what we believe.
And in order to accept what he believed, they have to be deceitful or to themselves in order to talk to us.
Yeah,
which is sad.
Truly is.
Thank
okay, alrighty, guys. Thank you, everybody in chat. Again, thank you for coming tonight. Great discussion, a lot of fun. Made a little mockery of the Imam Jaban al-Islam, and defined why we're going to start referring to him as such. What was that one? The Jacaba the Hut. I like the Jacaba the Hut one.
Jacaba the Hut.
the Kaaba the Hut. There we go. That.
But you know something, Eric. When it comes on to debating and discussing with Kenny, I think a neutral platform is better. When you go on his playground, on the devil's playground, he controls you, he controls your time, he cuts you off, he puts you backstage. Very disrespectful guy. And he has this snickering follower, what's her name? Katarina. Katarina. That's her name. That's another rude person as well.
Yeah, I've noticed that a couple times.
I think the fun part would be to call him out at the beginning of the show. Say, Kenny, did I mute your mic at all during the time? I mean, you could say those things to begin with.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to him because.
Oh no, but if you put it at the beginning, it might challenge him to leave your mic open.
Yeah.
Well, it's not going to happen. I mean, the other night he wanted me to come on and to discuss the hadith demonstrating that it was Aisha herself that admitted that she was 9 years old when Muhammad raped her or consummated their marriage. And because his whole argument during the show was, well, there's no eyewitnesses. Nobody said that it was consummated at that time. And I showed him.
I have a recent biography written by an Islamic scholar of Abu Bakr, and one of the reasons that they say he was the perfect man for the job was he gave his 6-year-old daughter to Muhammad, and they consummated the marriage at 9. In the biography of Abu Bakr.
It's every time we discuss this on the show, and we discuss it often so people understand the depravity, how depraved this man was.
Yeah.
And this is what supporting somebody that did these kind of things does to your mind. It turns your soul into this one great big bowl of filth, of disease and hatred.
That's why. That's why I wrote my book, The Cancer of Civilization Jihad. It talks about those social norms that are depraved.
I've been. Where did I put it? It's out in the kitchen. I've been going through.
Thanks for your review.
Yeah.
But Connie,
oh yeah, I did review it, didn't I? Yep.
But Connie, you read. I take it that you read the Imam's book. You say you bought it, but I take it. I'm assuming that you read it.
I haven't finished it, but yes, sir. I've got it as the ebook, and I bought the new one. Purchased it ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, I will not. More kudos to you, because I will not be reading his book. I will not be buying it. Whatever excerpts I've heard from it, I realize it's the rantings of somebody who has delusions of grandeur.
Just take a look at this, George. Just take
better as toilet paper.
Okay, just take a look at this. I have read and gone through his book and provided an honest critique of this book, page by page, several times on this show. Okay. And it's like it's like Rad going to purgatory, the other night on his show. Just to sit there and tolerate the juvenile approaches that he has just about to every subject. And I've even had discussions with him about some of the things in here. Like he says, "Oh, there's 33,000 denominations in Christianity. Which one is true?" This is a common retort that he makes, and I clearly showed him the very organization where he draws that information from has denounced that. But we'll see if it's in his new.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we'll see if he
Well,
has
I
the
wonder if he
integrity.
corrects it in his second edition.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We'll find out if he has the
I
integrity. to do
still
that.
think he didn't write it. I still think he paid someone to ghostwrite for him, but that's me.
Yeah, I think when we talked about that, I think you might be right. You just might be right.
What I think, Ken, is
Basically propaganda. He comes against propaganda, but the whole book is propaganda.
right. Yes. Yes, exactly. It's a good word. What I think his objective is, okay? His objective. He lives in the United States, in Texas. He has absolutely no intention of going to live in an Islamic society. What he's trying to do is to create a false impression of Islam, create his own version of Islam so that he can get followers.
It's not much difference than some of these moderate Muslims out there.
All right, guys. I need to go.
Good night, everybody.
Again, thank you for coming and saying what, contributing with what you did. Everybody in chat, you guys are always a lot of fun and very. They spend half their time fact checking us as we go along, or at least citing stuff that supports what we say. And I really appreciate, especially the mods in there that do this. So we'll see y'all Sunday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. God bless you. We'll see you then.
Bye. Bye.